Welcome back. You're watching and listening to Breakfast with Stephen and Ellie.
Now, there's, of course, only a week to go until the coronation.
Yes.
Are you excited? Are you looking forward to it? If you want to see the king like you've never seen him before, here he is when he's been arrested. Well, no, not strictly true. This is when he was at university, and he was 18 years old in 1967. But it looks like a mugshot, doesn't it? I mean, it's awful. Awful picture.
I think you were correct earlier when you said he had grown into his...
He has grown into his looks.
Less of a looker.
But there you go. It's nice to see. They've just released that. I don't know who's released it or for why. There you go. It's out there now. What can you do?
The Express has captured a priceless moment that we've been sharing with you this morning of a 2-year-old little boy snatching away the Princess of Wales handbag, a mulberry one, during her trip to the Aberfan Memorial, and then didn't give it back. The Princess of Wales had to continue on her walkabout without her handbag.
Yeah.
She did eventually get it back.
She got it back eventually.
Good taste, I say.
700 quid's worth of handbag. There you go. There's some really powerful pictures in the Eye this morning from Sudan. British nationals boarding an RAF aircraft in Khartoum.
The Sun has this photo of £1.3 billion submarine, the HMS Anson. Now, this is a peculiar turn of events that's very close to Stephen's heart.
It is.
His local spoons. Classified documents were found there about this submarine. They're found in the bathroom.
In the gents' loo.
In the gents' loo of the spoons. So there you go. You never know what you're going to stumble across in the loos of them.
Anything about submarines is close to my heart because they build so many of them up in Barrow, of course. Have you been on a submarine? My grandparents and uncles all worked on the subs and building the subs and the ships.
That's cool.
Yeah. If you ever go on a submarine, you'll have more respect for submariners than you ever thought possible. Because it's terrifying.
Yeah.
It's terrifying. They're so cramped.
Couldn't be me.
No.
Well, we're joined by assistant editor of The Spectator, Cindy Yu, and joining her is podcast host Sean McDonald. Good morning to you both.
Good morning.
Sean, let's start with you, shall we? Safety fears rising in Manchester's gay village.
Yeah, this is absolutely horrific, to be honest. This is the third crowbar attack in Manchester's gay village in the space of about 6 weeks in what's been described as a premeditated and targeted hate crime. I mean, it pretty much just is simply this, that the story it doesn't require much more elaboration. There are homophobic attacks, and I think in instances such as this, as with whether it's religious discrimination or any other sort of targeted hate crime, it requires everybody to stand in complete unison in condemnation of it. I just don't understand what type of oxygen-headed moron you have to be carrying this out in the first place. Really feel for the people involved. You've had people speaking in Canal Street who are having to change their shifts because they don't feel safe going home. I mean, it's 2023, and I think it shows that this type of discrimination and homophobia is very much insidious and may appear to be under the surface, but it is very clearly is prevalent, and I would say that even one attack, I would describe that as being prevalent because there should be nothing. I'm quite stunned that we're actually sitting discussing this, to be honest.
Yeah, it's...
but it deserves spotlight, and it deserves people to stand up and say something if you witness it.
Just live and let live. That's...
Why does it bother you? It's sometimes a bit, a little bit, the lady doth protest a little too much. Like, why do you care? Why do you care?
Yeah.
Or is there something a wee bit more beneath the surface that you're uncomfortable with?
Yeah, I think that could be a very valid point.
Shocking, isn't it?
Yeah.
The irony of going from live and let live to the Telegraph and Joe Biden, Cindy, because and this is it's a fair point though, because there is concerns that if Joe Biden is re-elected as president, he'll die in office.
Yeah, so he's 80-year-old this year. He's just announced his re-election campaign this week. So if he gets elected, he'll be 86 by the end of his second term. And I had a quick look at the American life expectancy for the average white male, and it's 77. So he's already doing very
all right
well.
now, but he doesn't seem in the sort of greatest of health.
No. And the Telegraph has got this amazing story where they did some events recently at the White House for some kids, and for Take Your Child to Work Day. One kid asked him, what was the last country you went to? And do you remember that Biden was here in Ireland a couple of weeks ago?
How could we forget?
No, he forgot.
Oh, he forgot.
He forgot. He said, I've been to 89. I've met with 89 heads of state so far. So I'm trying to think. Where was the last place I was? It's hard to keep track. This is direct quoting.
Oh, you're joking.
Oh dear.
It doesn't fill you with it's nothing against him. This is what happens when you get older, isn't it? It is what happens when you get older. You
Which
get a bit
is totally
forgetful.
fine.
But he's the
you want
most
to be the president of America?
yeah, the most powerful man in the world. It doesn't.
If you get access to the nuclear codes, I would prefer that you remembered where you were last week. I mean, that's just me.
It's a concern, isn't it? You wonder what's motivating him. I mean, if you were his family members, you'd be thinking, look, Dad, Granddad, you're a bit past it now.
Yeah.
You're past your prime.
He's wanted it all his life, hasn't he? He's been
Yeah,
around
well,
since like
that's
the
it,
70s,
isn't
80s.
Yeah.
You can be rude if you're French.
This
is in the Mail.
Yeah, according to Eva Green, she's been awarded £810,000 for a film that was never made. The film was called A Patriot, and it was shut down in 2019. I think it was due to be filming in Ireland. It changed to, I think it was maybe Hertfordshire or somewhere in England anyway. And she had got into, I think she was used as a scapegoat for the film not going ahead. But I think the sort of attack or the defence on her was that messages were leaked in which she had referred to her producer as a moron, and she referred to some crew as peasants, which really made me laugh, to be honest. It's quite the insult. She blamed her Frenchness for these messages. Cindy and I actually had a bit of trouble trying to find out what her actual nationality was. I think Cindy was her dad's Swedish and her mum's French.
Yeah, exactly.
So I mean, it's a bit of a weak argument, isn't it? I don't think she is actually French, and I think the judge was like, yeah, you can't
also,
call.
I think it's still rude to call someone a peasant in France.
Yeah. I mean, it does seem like such a French 17th century type insult anyway. So like, is she
like pre-revolution kind of.
I mean, there's no excuse for being rude.
No,
Maybe maybe she deserves to win a case.
Do you know what's funny though? The judge did say, having listened to evidence from the producer, I can see why you would fall out with this guy, which was quite remarkable. So he must be. I mean, I don't want to cast aspersions in his character. I've never met him, but you must be a bit of a rubbish guy if a judge is saying that.
Well,
the judge said that he was patronising, sarcastic, and denigrating.
But maybe not a peasant. There you go. We've got to leave you there. Cindy, Sean, thanks very much indeed. See you in the next hour. Coming up, all the strike updates and how best to face the holiday getaway.